I told her to take notes on computers. Such a good one.
So what years did you attend Longfellow?
Okay, from 47 through 6th grade, which must have been 51, 53. Look at my 6th grade. 6th grade was 51, 52. Right.
Okay, what do you remember most about Longfellow?
And of course, I remember Isabel Montgomery, definitely. And she was the one who was so interested in teaching us American history. And you know, back then we didn't have as many books as you have today. We had a very, very small little library within the school, but the teachers all had troves of books that were their own books, and she would let me borrow books to take home to read, mostly about American historical women, particularly President's wives, Dolly Madison, Abigail Adams, Martha Washington, and she inspired in me a great interest in history. So that was a wonderful thing. The other thing I remember is that we didn't have any school cafeteria. We didn't have any school lunchroom. We had a small lunchroom, but most of the children walked home at noon. We had an hour and 10 minutes worth of noon time. So I had to walk to school every day and then back home at noon and then back again and then back home again. So it was interesting. So the school day lasted a longer time. You know, we started about 8:30. I can't remember the exact start time, probably close to 8:30. And then we didn't get out until 4 o'clock. So sometimes in the wintertime, by the time I was walking home again, it was beginning to get dark. Seemed like I was in school all day long. So I remember, and I was, you know, there were just a few students that actually took their lunches to school. You know, that was because their mothers were really working. But not that many mothers worked back then. So we all got to go home so it was good. I remember that and many other things. So.
Well, how did you get to school?
That I walk all four times a day. Yes, so I had to go down South Governor Street, up Bowery, you know all this area, up Bowery, past the Muriel Colburn home. Well, yeah, Bowery, and on to Clark Street, and then down Cherry.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so that's how I walk to school every day.
And then what did you wear to school?
Oh, very warm clothing. You know, in the wintertime, do you all know about using bread sacks to get your boots on? Yeah, well, we did that a lot because wore boots a lot in the winter time. And then what did I wear in the classroom? You know, at that time, girls, it was not appropriate for some girls, or for many girls, to wear trousers or pants to school. Certainly not jeans. That was just a no-no back then. You maybe have heard that from an in-law. But, you know, I think it was primarily because jeans were considered to be working pants. So when you were outside raking the lawn, you wore jeans and that sort of thing, but you did not wear that to school. So generally I was in the skirt and top. I can show you some pictures of that too.
And what do you remember most about your classroom?
Most about my classroom. I remember the desks, and I remember how close we sat to one another, and what do I remember about that? Typical things, I guess. You know, now I wouldn't have seen a classroom like this. You know, where you have tables like this. They were all individual desks lined up. Do you have any classrooms like that anymore?
Yeah.
In the upper grades, I guess, don't you? Oh, and I remembered I loved my desk. I loved being able to flip that up and put my things in there.
Yeah.
Have my things in that area. And we had a small cloakroom. We never had enough room in the cloakroom to put all of our winter clothes and our boots and everything in there. So that always seemed funny to me.
Do you remember like your 6th grade classroom, where it was in the school?
I do know.
Okay.
I do know. Yeah, it was upstairs on third, isn't it third? 1 through 3? The third floor on the, let me tell you which end. I've got to get my directions straight. On the north end was the 6th grade.
Okay. So that would be where the 4th grade classes are. Yeah. And where was the library when you went to school?
You know, it was just a very small area right at the principal's office. Okay, so it really wasn't, you know, what you call an organized library. If you really wanted library books, I had to go downtown. to the public library. And at that time, it was the end of the war, and my family had one car, which my dad took to work, and my mother really didn't drive at that time, so I rode the bus all over town for a nickel a ride downtown, on the corner of things that don't even exist anymore down there. If I said them, you wouldn't even know them. And then I'd go to the public library, which is the old Carnegie building that's across the street now from where the public library is now. It's kind of catty corner across there. I think they've made apartments or condos.
It's an
out of that now.
apartment place, but it still says, I think it says Carnegie on it.
It still is. That was mine right in the bottom layer, and that was where the elementary books were. And we loved it down there.
I have one more question about the school. Was the gymnasium part of the school building?
Not there. Not until later, when they added the addition on.
So no gym. So this was before the addition.
Right.
Okay.
We just, our gym was really outside, and we were out all the time. And even in bad weather, they took us out. Dressed us up and took us out.
My mother is your age, and she went to a country school. So they played baseball in a pasture where there were also cows. So you had to watch your step.
See, that's right. Now, this wasn't quite that bad, but it just almost. And so many of my friends that I met then when I finally got to Central Junior High were country students. They had been raised and educated in the little tiny country schools that were out and about. So it was very different back then from what you all have now.
Where did you eat lunch?
Home. I went home every day. Every day. The one thing they did do, they made sure that we had access to milk at school, but that was the only treat you had. So we had these milk lists. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that.
When I was in school, we also had milk in the afternoon.
We had ours kind of late morning. They must have thought that maybe we needed that before we walked home for lunch. Yes.
What were your favorite foods?
My favorite foods at home, probably macaroni and cheese that my mother would fix. I loved that for lunch. It was always hot and good. I love chicken salad too. She did a lot of chicken salad sandwiches. I think I eat sandwiches mostly for lunch. Some soup, mostly that.
What was recess like?
What was recess like? Okay, you know where the playground is, and it's the same place it was when I was there. We would go out there and just play. We didn't have nearly the amount of equipment that you had up until recently, but we would go out and play. We did a lot of dodgeball, a lot of fun things like that. I loved that. Yeah. And we could leave the area too because, of course, we came and went. So we often went down into the area where the ice rink was and played down there.
Do you have any stories about recess?
Not really. Just enjoying my friends out and about, Oh, I know it was always hard to be on the climbing apparatus that we had there because we had skirts on, and you were very cognizant of the voice and very aware that you didn't want anybody to see your underpants, right? Isn't that what we would say? So, yes.
Now they sell tight little shorts.
Yes.
They call bloomers or plate shorts or something that girls can wear. That's pretty common, but yes. But you didn't have a choice. You had to wear it.
That's right.
Did you have a favorite activity or piece of playground equipment?
Probably the swings. I love to swing, so I did that all the time. But I loved it if I could talk my friends into dodgeball, so we would find a corner and do that.
Do you remember any traditions at Longfellow?
Such as we have a school carnival in the spring. What else do you guys do?
You have safety patrol, the 6th grade party, the lock-in, birthdays, anything like that?
Sure. We all were able to celebrate our birthday, of course, in the classroom by bringing in cupcakes or whatever our mothers had fixed. What was another tradition? We had some what you would call school gatherings, but there really wasn't a large area for us to do that, so we didn't have much of that. It was just definitely different. You were within your classroom and within your area. You could celebrate with other sixth graders, kind of out in a common area, but you didn't really get together with the school, so to speak.
Okay.
So we didn't have that.
What are some general rules, and did you agree with them?
Oh, yeah, I think I did. I mean, I never questioned, I guess. I would love to have worn jeans to school. I would like to have worn something like that. But, there was a very different feeling about jeans back then. They were worn by people who were working or out in the fields or out in the yard. You didn't wear that when you were supposed to have a better demeanor in school.
Did you ever get in any trouble?
I really didn't. I think I was wanting to obey the rules all the time, so I didn't really have any trouble with principal's office or anything like that. Nope.
Were there any special projects that you can remember?
Well, the special project was memorizing poetry. We memorized a lot of poetry, and we had to get up and recite in front of our classroom. But that was okay because it really made me appreciate, especially Longfellow and his poetry. And I think you still do the same sort of thing, didn't you? Can you start a stringed instrument, like say in fourth grade?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, back then, I don't know how you do today. I don't know if you rent instruments, if you're going to play them. Or...
You can rent them from the school, or you can just
you?
buy your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, we didn't even have to rent them back then. The school just had a particular number of stringed instruments, and they were able to loan them to us, which was very nice. I thought that was just the most special thing when I got my violin at Longfellow School and started taking lessons there. It was wonderful. So I remember that distinctly.
Did you have any special classes like music, art, PE?
I loved music, and of course I loved English class too. I loved everything, and I liked history, and I think that was due to Isabel Montgomery. I think she was the one who thought it was so important that we know what happened in the past, and I loved that. Didn't like math as well. And we called it arithmetic, by the way. It wasn't called math, it was arithmetic.
Did you have a special music teacher, or did you have class? Oh, you did. Okay.
Yes, they had them in the schools at that time.
And was she at your?
Miss Ikai. You may have known that name. She hung around for many, many years.
Was she only teaching at Longfellow, or did she
No, she moved around.
move to different schools? Okay. Did you have PE? Is the choir?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
not sure that it was called gym.
Yeah.
But we were,
Yeah.
Yep.
ran around.
And did you have an art teacher?
I don't remember that. I think the classroom teachers did that with us because that's what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a picture of a bird that I did in here, and I remember doing that in fourth grade. So I think it was really just the classroom teacher. The classroom teacher had to be able to teach a lot of things.
Did you have a favorite teacher, and why?
Oh, probably Isabel, just because she was so firm and encouraging, and she, I shouldn't call her Isabel, should I? I should call her Miss Montgomery, excuse me.
Well, you kind
And
of
she-
refer to her as Isabel.
Yeah,
That's cool.
she was a wonderful lady, and she was around for many, many years, even when I came back to town. So she was the one that inspired, I think, a lot for me in terms of learning history and appreciating Longfellow and other things. Yes.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Anything what, honey?
Anything else you would like to add?
No. I think I'm good with that. It was a long school day, that's for sure. I know that. But it was because we came and went so often. I remember one day in second grade, we had just moved here, and Miss Fritz was my teacher. I can still remember her because I saw her for years after that too. But I was so tired one afternoon, I fell asleep at my desk, and she sent me home, of all things. But I was a little girl at that time in second grade. I don't think that was highly unusual because we had a lot of walking to do.
Right.
A tiny little thing. That's a long way to go,
Mhm. So when she sent you home, did you walk home by yourself?
Indeed, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, there was no other way to get home.
Mhm.
There
So
was no bus
she fell
service.
asleep, and the teacher sent a second grader to walk home by herself. Now, would she have called your mother to let you know that you were coming?
I honestly don't know that.
Yeah.
I would assume the school
Yeah.
let my mother know. I would think so that she knew they would expect me. But I can't say that for sure. Oh yeah, we did everything on our own. We walked everywhere and went everywhere with no concern about anything. You know, I went downtown on the bus, a little tiny girl like this, waiting for the city bus to go downtown to watch a movie. So, yeah.
Is that the rest of your interview questions? Okay. I think you guys did a really good job and you covered a lot of information. Is there anything else that you guys need to cover?
Yeah.
That's it?
You can tell that things were different, can't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, today, do you get all your grades via computer from your teacher, or do you actually get a slip, or?
On the computer. And it's set up so that parents can log into the school district website every single
So
day
you know.
and look at it.
Yeah. See, our parents really didn't know basically how we were doing day to day or week to week, you know, but you were given your report card, is what I call it, to take home, and your parent had to sign that so that the teacher knew that your parents had seen that card.
That's how I did it too when I was in school.
And are you assigned letter grades A, B, and C now in
No.
6th grade? No, not yet.
So their
Yeah.
conference sheets, they receive a number for each skill. And if they're number 3, that means that they have achieved or mastered the skill.
Okay.
Number 2, still working on it.
Okay.
And I don't think they give number sheets actually.
And
So-
we got G for good, E for excellent.
Yes.
E, G, M, and must have been for medium. You know, for passing at any rate. Yes.
Well, Mrs. Lucas came in and she said that if you have any good pictures in there, that I should take a snapshot of it.
Sure.
And
Well, let
they're
me show
hoping
you.
to put together a book and put this in that we can sell or as a memorabilia type item. And if you have photos that are really good, we would like to include them in the book.
Oh, yeah.
And in order to do that, we'd have to scan them.
Oh, sure.
But she does not have a scanner here that's.
You know what? I'm not concerned. I'm really not.
Okay.
I know who would take good care. I mean, I have my
You want to
second
come around,
grade.
girls, and we can look at this?
Here's my second grade report here. 47, 48. See, they got your days absent, your days tardy. Oh, I must have walked to school and gotten there just fine.
Yes.
Deportment, I got agree. But look at this. I've got M's in several things. Look down here, poor. I was very poor. I was very shy. I think I really wasn't very
That was your
forward
first
back
year
then.
here.
That was second grade, yes.
Mhm.
See, here's a milk sheet. And my mother would not let me order chocolate milk. I remember that. I had to have white milk. That's nothing that has anything to do with the school, but I do
So
remember
this
that.
is something that your teacher put together?
Mhm.
Okay.
This would have been Hazel Fritz, second grade.
Okay. And that's-
Second grade,
he
you can
was
take a
having milk.
picture of that if you want. I don't care. It
Yeah.
was milk order for January 26th. Grade 2. There it is. And then, yeah, that was some artwork that we did in my class. And then there's Isabel Montgomery. There's her signature. There's my report card. And I think these all have something on the back of them, too. Let's look here. I think she wrote comments. Oh, no, my mother had to sign it. No
Okay.
comments. Promoted to grade 4. Oh, you hoped you made it, right? Yeah, so anything you want out of that, you may have.
Okay.
And then I have some pictures. Those are not Kornfeld. That was just my neighborhood group. And here was the start of 4th grade. You can see how much we kind of dressed them. Look at this. See, we never have on pants for
And
coming
did you
home
wear
from school.
dresses through high school?
You know, we were allowed to have one jeans day at City High. Like Friday could be jeans day. But there we were, you know, in our little. Oh, we did a lot of things to help the community. You know, much of our art had to do with making posters. For instance, this was a community play with a Chinatown detective, and it was a community play. There was a group of community players, and then they would produce that at City High School. And so we often sat around and made posters and did things like that. But there I am. You can see I've just come home from school there. And I've got my skirt on. That made it hard on those monkey bars and things like that.
Yes.
Oh, this was just downtown Iowa City about that time.
Oh, wow.
And, oh, here, and here's my 6th grade class.
Look at the,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Actually, we had two classes of 6th grade. So
Okay.
there it was. And we had to write poetry. There was some of that was, oh, there's my poem that was written. Another grade school. And then this was, at school is where we always had our brownie meetings.
Okay.
So the school allowed that. We didn't meet in homes. We met there, and I think every 6th grade girl was a brownie. That was just something that Longfellow School did. The
Are these
directed-
mothers?
Those are mothers.
Yep.
Mhm. Birthday and Mrs. Mummy. Don't know who that is. I should know. But my mother labeled all of that. So
Uh-huh.
I have those sorts of things. So
I'll
I don't know
take
if
a
any of
picture of
that
that
is of
one.
interest to you, but there it is. And there's a picture then of looking at the new
New
edition from the
edition.
outside, and it must have been just right after I left 6th grade.
We would love that picture.
You can have it. Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
there may be part of an article with it. I don't know. You can have anything here that you would like. Let's just take this.
And then you went to junior high at Central Junior High,
Mhm.
which
That was
is
the
where,
only public junior high at the time.
okay,
Mhm.
which is,
Because there was St. Mary's and St. Pat's Junior High and University Junior High, University High School, which is also had a junior high. And so, Central was the only public one.
mhm.
That was 6th grade graduation. See, got my skirt on, my sandals on. Yeah, there it is.
My mother went to college from 1962 to 66. She went to UNI, and she said that they had to wear skirts to class as well. They could not wear.
We didn't wear trousers or jeans. No, never. I went to Iowa from 58 to 62.
Mhm.
So I'm just ahead of your mom. Yeah, there's the new edition from the outside. Look at that. That was a newspaper article.
I'm just going to take a picture of this.
Everybody was very proud of that.
Do you remember, was it the Iowa City Press Citizen
That's
at
what
the
it was.
time?
Mm-hmm.
We might need to look in their archives.
I'll bet you could find that in your archive, sure. Probably a better copy than that. There it is.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Do you want a copy of a report card at all?
Yeah, that would be great.
No, do that. I don't know how I see that. That's what I don't know. Okay, which one would you like? Do you want Isabel's?
Yeah.
Since everybody knows her name.
That's important. No, she left her
Estate to the school.
estate to the school.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
each year, the school has the interest off of her estate that can be used to buy things for the school that are non-consumable. So no paper, things will get used up, but permanent things.
Right.
So they've purchased playground equipment, computers, cameras, printers, all these, books, all these different things with what she had left to the school. And it usually, it's around $15,000 worth.
Isn't that great?
And to understand what that means, that's about the budget of a lot of the PTAs. And it's just fun money
That's
is what
right.
it really is. It's
She
just,
was such a wonderful person. Do you want this 6th grade
Uh-huh.
class of 52 in the tape one? Does that make it harder? Do you want me to take it out of there? Do
yeah, I think it'll work.
you think so? Well,
Yeah.
okay, maybe you want my writing below it.
Yes, that would be interesting.
Okay, there you go. Look at this right about. Look at the old cars.
And that is,
Isn't that
6th grade.
something? But none of those businesses even exist anymore. This was South Dubuque Street. You can see First National Bank sitting right there. And Fort Hopkins was one of the drugstores there. So there were 3 of them right on the corner there. We seen it over here.
look at, that's a round window, isn't it?
Mhm. Oh, this was a beautiful building. It was a shame that went down during urban renewal. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous building, but there again, it suffered the ravages of time too.
Right?
Okay, that's mine. Here is fourth grade. Where is Isabel? Here she is. You want that? You're welcome to have that. Do you want the milk report at all?
I do. I think that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of forgot when I was in elementary school, that was in the 70s, we had milk time and it was after lunch.
Mhm.
And we would have a graham cracker with it, one rectangle of graham cracker.
Sure.
And we always had white milk except for Fridays. We had the option of
You could get that.
chocolates.
Yeah. Oh my God. We had more of an option than that. We could have that more often, but my mother somehow they thought that chocolate milk was not so good for me.
Right.
You know why? I don't know. I'll put them all together later. Okay, so I'll get Isabel's here.
Very good. Okay.
You know, I stuck all this together because it was all just floating in a box, and I thought, if I don't stick this together, I'm not even going to remember what my childhood was like. And my grandchildren love this too. Here's Isabel. You got her?
Yep, I got that one.
Okay, look at their beautiful cursive writing too.
You lived in Iowa City all your life?
You know, went here to go to school to get the major that I wanted, and then when I married, it was Vietnam War time, and my husband entered the Air Force at that point, and was sent to. We went to Chanute Air Force Base in Rantoul, Illinois. We're there from '66 to '68, and we came back.
Okay.
To town. Been here ever since then. Yeah.
And where did your children go to school?
They went to Hoover.
Okay.
We lived on Mayfield. You know, I'm kind of sorry we didn't move back into the Longfellow district. I don't know why we didn't at that point.
Well, that was the new area.
It was a new area.
You know,
and when I attended City High, First Avenue behind City High was still a dirt road. So when we went there for football games, there were pickup trucks going across the back side of that dirt road there, and stirring up all the dust at night. And
so when you were in high school, it was.
Oh, absolutely.
I talked to someone else once who told me that she went down first, or she remembers, so it must have been that was in the 50s. It was gravel road.
Oh, yeah.
Over there. And I just couldn't believe it because there's so much
on East,
development in town.
And then that started right after that. Probably, let's see, I was in '62. Probably shortly thereafter, they started developing all of that area there. I know that's true because a lot of the houses were built around that time. Here's the, do you want the milk order?
Yes, I would.
Is that important?
Well, I don't know if it's all that important, but it is
something
something that certainly will bring back memories.
Yeah, and I had to fold it up here because everybody's listed here. But I'm the only one on there that's white. But I didn't rebel. I just, that's what my mother said. You followed the rules. That's what my mother said. Oh, okay. I should show you a picture of Longfellow's study as it is today. He basically spent most of his adult life in the Boston area. He taught at Harvard. He was one of those early pioneers in education. He was born in Maine, I know, and then he was really good with languages. He started to learn a little bit, and he grew up around the Indians, the Iroquois Indians there, and he was fascinated by their language. I think that's what influenced a lot of his poems, like Hiawatha and Evangeline and all those. But he wanted to teach foreign language. He wanted to learn some more foreign languages, so he had to go to Europe on his own. Fortunately, his family was wealthy enough that he was able to go there. He learned languages. He came home and wrote a lot of textbooks that he used at teaching at Harvard. And then he was fortunate enough to marry a very wealthy woman, and he was able to acquire this home. Let me show you this home. This, I think, is fascinating. This is Longfellow's home. It's a beautiful home that sits on the edge of Boston, right on the bend of the Charles River there, if you've ever been to Boston. And it's right across the way from Harvard. And he could go there to teach every day. And his home is this gorgeous Georgian home that was basically vacated by a man who was very much a Tory. He was sympathetic to the English at the start of the American Revolution. He didn't want to be a colonist at that time, so he escaped to go to Canada to get out of the area. so that he would be safe. And then when his home was just left vacant, it became the headquarters for Washington. In the winter of 75, 76, he planned all the strategy for the beginning of the war there. He and Martha lived there for that time. And of course, then that fascinated Henry Longfellow when he became a boarder there in the home after the Revolution in the early part of the 1800s. And I think that's what led him to do a lot of research on the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. And that's a wonderful poem. If you ever have a chance to read that, do it. It's, it's just very meaningful. What is that? Power failure. Who knows? But look at the key in the door of his original home. He's just got the old-fashioned key. This is the original door as it was even when Washington walked through that.
That's
and
pretty amazing.
Longfellow walked through that.
So
yeah, it was a fascinating tribute in the home. We toured it not only to Washington but also to Longfellow. Beautiful home. And then here was his study. And the reason it's so well preserved is because his daughter, Alice, never married. And so when Henry died in, I think it was mid-1880s, she acquired the home. She kept it in the same way that he had it. And then she kept his study. And this is where he translated Dante from into English, basically. And he wrote many of his poems sitting in that chair there. And it looks out across the way of Harvard. So it's a fascinating piece of history. I think he's wonderful. And then this is, of course, a wonderful picture of him. That's exactly what he looked like. And that's what I remember. Do you have a picture of him like that hanging in the school anywhere? He looks a little scary, doesn't he? But that was typical of the time. That was the beards that they wore. But you can see how he developed a formal garden too. He was quite a gardener. So sometime if you ever have any chance to learn about him, you'll find it to be fascinating.
I think next year they might have a bigger focus on it since it's the 100th year. That needs to be
right. He's a handsome guy there for his time. Longer hair.
Right.
That was Longfellow in his early years. This is the parlor is the most elegant room in the house and was used as a drawing room by both Martha Washington and Fanny Longfellow. So look at his headquarters here. This was probably an early sketch there. Anyway, fascinating to know that one home that he occupied had so much history in it.
And then it inspired him to
write. It inspired him with his writing. It surely did.
Okay.
You want a picture of his library on it? Fascinate you.
And I think we need to do a little, on this book that we're doing, I think it would be interesting to have a little section on a little bit about the history.
Right. Oh, if you've ever known the old, I guess it's another, that may be true. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols played. That was his poem. But later was made into a hymn.
They still haven't really decided how they are going to, I guess, decorate the entry of the new school, which the main entry will be on the west side. And we've talked about how we have to have a display of some of the old artifacts. We have the original bell.
Oh, good.
And some of the portraits of Isabel Montgomery. There's one of Longfellow somewhere.
I think it was in the office.
In the office?
Yeah.
And there you go. Thank you.
He has a lot of great quotes that we have used before with some of our things. And some of them just are directly about education, too. It would be good to have something like that. In the our old entryway really didn't have any keepsakes or memorabilia or anything like that.
Probably not. No, sit that down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, this is fantastic.
All right.
You just really brought in a treasure trove.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I don't. Probably there are more people who have, or some people who have more than I do. But
Well,
do you need any more people to talk?
we would
with
love
you?
to have some more people.
Do you really? You want some more?
Yeah.
I
If you-
just talked with a fellow classmate of mine.
Okay.
You know Pete Vanderhoff? They're the family that owned Iowa Book and Supply for so many
It
years.
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
okay.
he was in my class, and I said to him at a board meeting last week, I said, Pete, how about, would you like to be interviewed by Longfellow? And he said, I would be happy with that. I said,
Okay.
Good.
Do you have his contact information?
I'll get it for you. I wonder if I have it on my phone. I don't think I do have it on my phone, but I will get it to you.
Okay.
How do I do that? If you would
Do you have Mrs. Lucas's number?
Yes, I have her email.
Okay, you could
Can I
email
just
her the
shoot it to that?
information.
Okay, Pete Vanderhoff. I'm trying to think of others that are still in town. I'll look at that picture. If you need more information. And he lived almost in Longfellow's backyard, so he didn't
Okay.
have so far to go for lunch.
Right, so that was easy for him. He could probably take a visit at lunchtime.
And he played on that ground all the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay.
We are also looking for people who may have attended school there in the 70s and 80s. We were trying to get a certain number of people from each decade. And that was one where we didn't have as many names. So it would be people that might be your children's age, or which I thought.
Right. My kid started Hoover in the fall of '72. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think on that.
So if you have any ideas, but I've got a couple feelers that I need to put out too. Do you happen to remember? If they'd be anywhere near your age, but it's Ann Bywater.
Oh, yeah, I know Bywater very
So,
well.
Did she go to Longfellow?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you think her father would have gone to Longfellow?
He
Okay.
went to U Elementary.
Okay.
He can probably tell you, though. Bill is a historian.
Is that
He's
her
a-
father?
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you know Bill at all?
I know Ann.
Ann, you
Her
know Ann.
boys were
Mhm.
same age as my
Mhm.
boys, so I
Jake
could talk to
Jake
Ann and see if.
yeah. No, I know Bill. If he has information, he does not attend there. Waller Geiger did, but he's in city office. Let me think on that with some other names. But Bill Bywater may be able to give you some history that ties in with Longfellow that he remembers from his family.
Okay.
Because he was a Mercer, and the Mercer home is on Summit Street.
Mm-hmm.
He was related to them, to his father. So I don't know. Oh, I wonder. Well, Ann Patterson, no, she couldn't. You couldn't interview her anymore. Let me ask Bill.
Okay.
Let me ask Bill.
If he has anything, you can have him contact Mrs. Lucas. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's good.
I'll think on that, and I'll send you some more names.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, any story is great. And, it's just, we're trying to put together some memories of this. And I think my favorite part about yours might be that you had to wear skirts to school.
That's right. And I don't know that it was a hard and fast.
But you just
rule.
did.
We
Mhm.
did, because it was despicable to wear jeans. I mean, really, you were the lowest of the low if you wore jeans. Now I wear jeans all the time. But see how things have changed, everything changes, doesn't it? Yes, right. And most mothers back then didn't drive either, so we didn't have any way to get around other than walk. And that's okay. We walked. I walked to Central Junior High.
But everybody did, so there's nothing unusual about it.
Yeah, I don't know that it was truly, I don't ever remember anybody ever really getting called out for not having skirt. But I don't think there was any girl who didn't wear a skirt,
Right. It was just kind of what you
That was the proper thing to do. I think it was a. Okay, well, I will shoot her some more information. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank
That
you.
was good, girls. I
Thank you.
hope you enjoyed that.
Yes.
A little different from the times. I wish I could have seen a floor that had carpet. Ours were all just wooden floors. And we had that little crow closet, so when we come in with our boots on in the snowy winter, they'd sit there and melt and ruin the floor. And I remember seeing that, and I'm sure.
When's the last time you were inside Longfellow?
Probably maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been inside since then, and I should have. I should have been in.
I don't think
But I'll
anything
come and
changed since
see it
then.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will have an open house next. I don't know if it'll be before school starts. In August, like for the ice cream social, but they always have a Longfellow picnic. September 8th, I believe is the date, or 9th, because that is the day that school started.
Oh, okay.
When the building
Oh,
first
right,
opened.
right, yes.
So I believe that is when they're going to have the baby.
Yeah, we never started before Labor Day. It was always after, like about a week after Labor Day.
When we start.
But we also didn't have spring break.
Right.
No
And we
spring
had a long
break.
winter break too, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Over
we
Christmas.
had about that long,
Okay.
as I remember. Maybe not quite, we might have gone, and we certainly didn't have anything off at Thanksgiving, other than, the day.
The day, yeah.
Well, I would imagine Friday too, I don't.
Thursday,
really remember,
Friday,
but
yeah.
But we went to school through Wednesday, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was different, no question. Okay, well, this is a lovely school. I'm sure Hoover will love it.
Each classroom has these little red dots here that says HP. I'm not sure what HPC is for, but each classroom has their own climate control. So you can adjust the temperature through there, so each teacher can set it to where they want
We have
to.
those old clunky radiators that made more noise than the others.
Longfellow still had that. It was radiant heat.
Was it?
And, if it got too high, you open the window